Everyone's ready? Let's go. Hello, Sasha.
Hello.
Sasha's garage is being worked on, so she won't be able to join us, but she'll be here in spirit and in the chat, I assume.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Judith.
Hello.
Sasha is an angel. I also might have not read the book. That's okay. You did give us heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah. My New Year's resolution's going well so far. I finished the book well on time. So
Yay.
also I did finally finish Ruin. So that's not so on time, but I did finally finish Ruin.
What'd you think of it?
That book just ripped out my heart, then stomped on it, set it on fire, and threw it in the trash.
In a good way?
Well, sort of. I mean, 5 stars, but ow. But I do see what you mean about the walking and the fighting, and then the walking and the fighting.
Yeah. That book taught me I don't have patience.
Yeah.
But then I keep complaining about like I read so many sequels recently, and I'm like, why are you always doing stuff? I just want to chill and talk. I don't know what I want is the lesson there.
You just want a very specific, perfect balance between the two.
Very easy to please. Oh, Judith. It was my first book of the year. Nice. Sasha, because Sunday is the only day my dad can be there and watch what they are doing. Surprisingly important when you have work being done in your house. Hello. Also did not read the book. Here for company and vibes. Welcome. Ruined me too, but I loved it.
Yeah, I guess the title is very apt, but
yes. All right. So we are talking about Daughter of Moon Goddess. If anyone's like, why are we here? Why have we gathered here today?
We have gathered to talk about this one.
Gorgeous girl. It is beautiful. All right. So what do you guys think? Would you rate it? I know, Kira, this wasn't your first read. It was a reread, right?
I actually went through with and I just reviewed everything, so I didn't do a full reread. But I tab my books in such a way to where it'll give me key plot points, so that I can just go back and reread the those areas, and then I'll be completely refreshed. So
amazing. So wait, what'd you rate it?
I loved it when I read it because I love the fast pace. I felt like every chapter had something and added to the storyline, and I love the mythology in it. I ended up giving it a 5 stars when I read it. So.
Okay.
I'm 3.5 stars, I want to say. Because I enjoyed it overall, but it didn't really wow me, I guess. So it's I'm in the middle. It was fine, but it wasn't a favorite or something. But I also didn't hate it, so it's it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I did share. I think I'm giving it 2.5, but it's not because I hated it, but I was just, I guess, maybe so disappointed because I thought I'd love it. For me, the thing was, it moved too fast. There was so much stuff. I was like, this could have been 2 books easily, and that way we would have had more time to be with the characters, get to know them, and it felt like all these big things happened. And just bam, we're on to the next thing. And I'm like, we did not even get to process that.
Yeah.
And it did not help that Hannon gave it 1 star, was my talking buddy. And she was like, don't be shy, girl, give it less. I was like, no, it's a 3 star. She's like, for all these things. I was like, oh, okay, maybe. But yeah, let's see what people said. I was so scared to be hyped for it, but I loved it. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I rated 5 stars, and it's actually for once a worthy cover buy for me. I'm very happy for you. And Kira, it seems like you're in the majority. 1 star for me, Hannon. Harsh.
Yeah, there were so many people that rated it super high, because I think Larissa also rated it. I don't think she's here, but I think she also rated it 5 stars and everything. And I was like, wow, so many people are loving it. I was like,
yeah. Pre-ordered it, but I was so scared to read it, and it's a 5 star. Nice. See, I was scared to read it because I thought it would be a 5 star, and I overhyped it for myself.
Oh no.
I personally loved it for the fast pace because I've grown a bit tired of trilogies that could be written as a duology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fast pace was what I needed at the time.
I mean, I get what you're saying though, because I like while I liked the fast pace, I also felt like there was like no processing time. Like in the books, it just went from like action to action to action to action, and I was like, can we process? Can we,
Yes, like considering it was like 30% into the book, and she's already like the prince already confessed, like they were already like got together. And to be fair, that was like a setup for the actual plot, I guess, which is fine. But I just felt so quick. I was like, oh my god, we're here. And then it was like, bam, there's this other guy. Also, everyone's in love with her. I just love that for her. I was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
okay. But then it kind of made sense. I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about first? I feel like there's like so many.
Well, we're talking about like the fast pacedness of it, but let's see, for the same reasons that you guys didn't like it, I loved it because I felt like, I don't know, I don't mind the wordiness as long as it's poetic, but a lot of authors, I feel like, even in fantasy, fall short sometimes of that. And that's like why I enjoyed it, was because like you said, it's like every chapter is like there's more action, like there's more going on. I felt like there was never a dull moment, and I felt like it blended so like well, like it flowed so well like into the next plot point.
Mm.
I mean, that's absolutely fair. I mean,
Yeah.
I do like it when there's just a lot of action, but I mean, it wasn't just the fast pace. That I feel like there was no processing time. Basically, it was just
Right.
the entirety. But like, I do love it when a book just gets right into it, and we don't need 100 pages to get going, because I also don't like that. Because I did like how fast it got going, but at the same time, I felt like I would have liked sometimes a little bit more time between some events, if that makes sense. Just, I don't know, sometimes it just felt like, okay, we only have 500 pages and we need to get everything done, so just we gotta keep going, y'all. It kind of felt like that to me at times. Which isn't the worst, but it kind of took me out of the story a little bit, because it felt, how do I explain that? Sometimes I felt like it didn't flow like naturally into the next element, but it was just like, cutscene next. Like there was no connection, I suppose. That's the way I could say it. Or like no connection is like a big word, but like I would have liked a bit more.
Yeah. I get it too, because one of the reviews I was listening to about somebody talking about it is like how they didn't feel like there was enough character development. And I feel like maybe they sacrificed, because like, I mean, usually like, you have to balance like, some of it out. And there was a little bit of character development probably, but like, I wouldn't say that there was a extreme amount of character development. Like, like, and that's usually like what the lulls do, like in between like the action points.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this book focused more on like plot, I suppose, than like truly on like characters and their development.
Right.
But I mean, maybe the second book will focus a bit more on the characters as well. I mean, I'm not sure, but that's just, for me, it's just like the balance between plot and characters is something that's very specific for me. And I feel like this one focused just a little bit too much on plot and just a little bit too little on characters, or like character development, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I would say, like, to be fair, the fast pace made it so easy to read. Like, I just like flew through it, and I wasn't like bored at any points. Like, I wanted to read it, and I'm excited for book 2. And funnily enough, I didn't dislike any of the plot points. I think they were all interesting. For me, it's just like if this book stopped like halfway through. Well, there were so many natural stopping points to like, because I knew it was a series. To me, there were so many natural stopping points where we could have stopped. So, and padded out this book a bit more, and then got to the next book. Like, I don't think she needed to like free her mother in this book. That it felt like, yeah, like kind of like Hannon said, and you guys mentioned, like the characterization was really, really surface level, I feel. And also because it's kind of like a lot of years we go through, but the first, like 10 years or whatever is like so sped through. And even when she's in army, it's like all super, super quick. So it feels like we check in with the characters so periodically. and it's like the second love interest. We met him, we fell in love with him, we hang with him for 5 minutes. Oh no, he's evil. It's just like so much happened.
Right.
Like, okay, calm down. Like, let's process any of this. But yeah, but I do agree. Like, to be fair, it was not boring. I'll give it that. Wait, sorry, I'm trying to see what I've not seen yet. So I agree about the blending. It didn't feel like bits and pieces for me. It still felt like a flowing story.
Yep.
Okay, so Sasha just checked again on Goodreads. This is actually going to be a trilogy.
It's not with the same characters. I checked the author's Twitter actually because we talked about this before, and it like she very definitively says in a tweet like the conclusion to this duology. But I also think what Sadie says, there might be like a third book set in the same world but with different characters, so kind of like a spin-off.
Okay, good. I was like, oh no, we haven't read finished series.
To be fair, this book very much felt like a standalone to me as well. Like if there would have been no sequel, that would have been absolutely fine as well. I think with how the story was like finished. So like for a minute there, I was very confused. Like, is the next book even about the same characters, or are we suddenly going to go to different characters? But it is about the same characters. But
to be fair, see, that's a very good point, because I feel like this book felt like a standalone, but I knew it wasn't. So I feel like I would be okay with the extreme pace and the maybe shallowness to an extent if I was like, okay, this was a standalone. They had to cram it all in, like whatever. Like, but it's not, so might as well like work out those bits a bit more, I guess. But it felt like a standalone, but it wasn't. So we're meant to be engaged in these people's lives for like next book. But I don't feel engaged in anyone's life because I barely know them, kind of thing. At least that's how. Sorry, I just read someone's comment. At least that's how it felt. I think the panic in my eyes is me reading that it's a trilogy.
Yeah, because like Sasha actually talked about it before, and I like literally just before we went live, like 20 minutes before, I checked because I was like, I need to know now. And it says, go. Sorry, Twitter's not working with me.
Yes, that's what Wired. What Wired?
Wow, I read.
Wow, I read. I love that. I was like, wow, I'm wired.
Yeah, so she, like the author, Sue Lynn Tan, published a tweet on November 15, like today, Heart of the Sun Warrior is out in the US and Canada. The Celestial Kingdom duology is complete. So it's like pretty definitive, I feel like, because there's no mention at all about like, but this story will continue or something like that. But like Sadie said, which is like, wow, I read, that's Sadie. She there might be some like about different characters, so more like a spin-off.
Right.
Thank God. I mean, I managed to read it, not because I didn't enjoy it, but I was like, damn it, we read finished books and we started a finished series.
Yeah, I was like, what? But I was so sure it was like a duology, like what's happening? But
damn it. Okay, Hanan says, I will say the writing was very solid. Some quotes were nice. True.
Yeah, I really liked the writing. It was also very like easy to read because like the words flowed very nicely, because also what you said, Gabby, I really flew through the book. But it was like sometimes it's almost like whiplash, like what's happening?
Yeah, I listened to it and read it, and I think listening to it was a bad idea because sometimes if I don't like entirely like the voices they make for characters, I start like not caring as much, and it just didn't. But I kept going. I was like, oh, whatever. I've started it now. It gave me the ick. Whatever. I'll just keep like listening to it. But I enjoyed it more like reading it. But I think that's just personal preference. So, like.
I think one thing that made me like, I don't want to say dislike because I didn't dislike the book, but made me not like it as much as I wanted to. It's because I feel like there wasn't enough struggle in it, if that makes sense. Because I feel like everything just because it was so fast paced and everything that happened, I feel like we didn't have enough time to see the characters actually make an effort to get things done. I feel like everything went so easily, I guess, for them.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because she like became this super master archer over years, but because we got so fast, to us it felt like a chapter, and all of a sudden she's the best archer there is, right? So I felt just a little bit, like you said, not earned, Even though technically she learned it over years and years and years, but we didn't
but we never saw any of her struggles, because like immediately she knew how to do archery, which is probably because of her dad, all that. I mean, I get that, but still I would have liked to see some chapters where it just didn't go very smoothly.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to offend anyone, but
I'm sure everyone here likes a good discussion.
I mean, I think every argument that you guys have made is completely valid, and I think this book is a perfect example of like how you can have this, how you can all agree on the same things, and and come up with entirely different ratings.
Yeah, because like nothing what you said, Kira, is like made me go like, well, no, I disagree.
Right, exactly.
But it's like, yeah, it just didn't.
Yeah.
Just didn't do it for me. Like, not entirely.
I agree. All right, let me cut up with comments, and then I have a question I want to ask you. Okay, it actually did feel like a standalone. Glad we're not alone. For this series, I'm really curious where the story will go. Especially that the plot twist of the captain being the prince of the demon realm, for it to have an impact, we need to feel their relationship have chemistry, but it's so obvious from the jump who she will be with. Yeah, I don't know. Did you feel like maybe he had a chance, or was it one of those? No.
I would have loved for him to have a chance. That's also something I was like, because like I get his motivations basically, and I was like, give him a chance because he's making sense, he's not wrong.
He seemed a bit too good to be true, to be fair. I was like, wow, this guy's like really nice and like really understanding. And then I was like,
no, I immediately was like, I don't trust you, but I still like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really feel like he had a chance, to be fair. But maybe because we had some little time to actually just hang out with him, I felt like all those bits kind of had a different purpose. Whereas with the prince in the beginning, obviously they're just at school hanging out. Not school, but you know what I'm trying to say. So it felt like I don't know. I felt a bit betrayed by him, to be fair, when he was like, "Whoop, I'm engaged." But then something I liked was like how reasonable the main character kind of was about it. Because she was like, well, to be fair, if it was between my whole country and my family, would I have sacrificed myself, like my happiness? Yeah, so I can't really judge him too harshly for it. So I was like, you're making sense. I like that, because normally
I think that was actually one of my favorite parts of the book. Like, you felt her pain, but also I liked how rational she was. Like, yeah, well, okay, I mean, this is your duty to your country, and I cannot fault you for doing that. But at the same time, you cannot expect me to just be your side chick, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, it's either your country and that woman or me.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually really like now I'm thinking about it. I really like that, and I like how reasonable she was. I like how everyone was pretty like level-headed, even though there was still so much drama to be had from the heartbreak. But it wasn't like one of those misunderstandings, and then you just like jump to conclusions. How books like doing it, and I liked that she kind of went for the captain. And it felt really realistic because she was like, I need to come to terms with, I'm not going to be with the prince. It's not going to happen. This guy's super nice. I mean, obviously, then we learned like the ulterior motives, but she's super nice and he's super understanding and like, let me give him a chance. And it kind of felt like there could have been something there, but because the prince kind of kept popping up every once in a while, being like, remember me, you're in love with me.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I feel like that could have been like the perfect one of like, the first love, like the very passionate, and like the slow forever love, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But then he turned out to be evil, sort of.
Yes.
Like, well, damn.
All right. Judith says, I haven't read the sequel yet, but I don't mind another book. I like long series. Yep, I'm definitely excited to read the sequel, to be fair.
Yeah.
I put it down, but I was like, I'm up for the sequel. I'm not like mad I'll have to read it. Hey, Hanan, the narrative gave so little depth to the antagonists. The forest goddess and the empress and the emperor, the captain's brother, all just evil, and that it's like, okay, what now? Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Were people like, were the villains well fleshed out? Because we said like everyone's a bit underdeveloped.
I feel like the only villain that was fleshed out was like, I don't even remember his name, but the captain in the army.
Yeah.
But like the rest, like the emperor and the empress, like, yeah, okay, like we know they dislike you, but why? You know, why are they evil? Because they are all powerful, so they're just disconnected from the world, so they're not actually evil, but just like unfeeling, or what's going on here? Context, please. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Empress made sense just because like it was her like family that the dad
Sure.
murdered, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I would be mad about that too. So like, fair play to you. But she was like really a bitch, you know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
wasn't like mad; she was like actively malicious. Even when she didn't know that she was the daughter of the guy that killed her family, she was still kind of mean. So maybe my argument doesn't stand. But yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. The captain's bad and we're evil. I was like, I thought maybe it turns out he's actually not that bad, and the captain has all this like harbored dismay and feelings towards him, and then in the end he'd like be like, oh, let's work together. I'll help you like save my brother or whatever. But no, he was just like, yeah, let me kill him in his sleep. I was like, jeez.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Literally, like I could feel something brewing, but I assumed it was angst for the love triangle. I think that's about the guy turning out evil in the end.
Yeah.
Hi, Rory.
Hello.
No.
For a little positivity, the scene where she breaks the news about her father's death to her mother was actually so emotional.
So sad.
Yeah.
Poor mom being trapped on the moon like forever, and then kind of holding out hope for your lost love to be somewhere out there, and then your daughter coming back like, hey mom, so dad's dead.
Yes. You know, because they never put into perspective how long they've been on the. Oh, wait, now I'm talking, but I feel like never mind, that's not a valid point. Because I was going to say that they never put into perspective how long they've been on the moon. But I guess we're meant to assume that the main character is aging normally. So I guess they were there like 17 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought maybe she aged funny because obviously she's an immortal. So I was like, what if it's been like decades? And actually, the father's long dead because it's been like years. Do you know what I mean? Like I kind of assume he was dead from the beginning, and when she kept being like, "Oh yeah, I feel so bad for saying my parents are dead," I'm like, "Well, your dad's dead," and then actually, then she didn't think he was dead, but he was. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think she aged like normally at first, and then because they like her mom took the immortality drink thing, it also sprang to her because her mom was pregnant with her. So I think they
Yeah,
like stop or slow down aging.
yeah. I think they
At,
said when you
like,
like hit a certain age, which is like probably like 20 or something, you
yeah.
stop aging, and yeah,
But then it also depends like on the magic, because I felt like it was the case that if you had like less magic, you would age more quickly, like still slowly, but more quickly than someone who had a lot of magic.
Yeah.
yes, that's true. I wanted to understand this world a little bit better because I was like, so everyone's like a deity, right? To an extent, like they're all in this like spirit world. But then I was like, okay, but like, do all the other spirits just get? It was basically like the real world, but just like in theory, everyone was immortal. And I felt it could have, there was an opportunity to kind of make it like a different society because obviously they're like immortals, and like I wanted them to explain it a little bit better because I feel like it was just like our world. It could have been like just a normal king and queen. The fact that they were immortal didn't really change anything except they could use magic, kind of thing. So now if you feel that.
Yeah, it was never really explained very definitively, I think. But I'm guessing it's just like you should just look at this like a high fantasy series where the world is not our own. Apparently, there's maps. I didn't realize there are maps, but map.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That's fun.
It's also in the first book. I just checked.
The ebook. Didn't see a map. I thought her father would turn out to, you know how she was saved by the archer and like that kind of came out of nowhere, and then we learned it was the captain. I thought that would be her father because he was somehow immortal too. I really wanted a happy ending for the mom. I felt really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still kind of holding out hope that the dad's actually not dead. Because the first one is very much daughter of the moon goddess, and it turned out to be like relationship with her and her mom. And the second one is heart of the sun warrior. So I'm kind of, I don't want to say holding out hope because it's not like something I actively hope for, but I feel like that might be the case, or that maybe he had, I don't know, other children or something. I don't know. Is it just speculation? Because I have no clue, but I feel like there might be some connection to her dad's side in this book.
Oh, yeah, you made a very good point about the title. I think it's going to be like, we're at least going to learn more about him. And I feel like he's probably not dead. That's not the vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, valid reasons for giving some lower stars, but the reasons are mostly why I like it too. Because, for example, more than a few pages about archery to develop it over more years isn't my jam. I do feel like it's a preference thing. Like you said, like we all kind of think the exact same thing, but whether we think it's a good thing or a bad thing kind of depends on what you prefer.
Yeah.
I think that's totally valid. Like I did really like it, and then I don't know, somehow I was like, as I read, I was like, it just didn't wow me, I guess. But I think it's still free. I gave it on Goodreads.
Because it definitely was like, I feel like if you're more like in like for like this book especially, like it was more plot driven rather than character driven. And I feel like maybe like that's a difference, you know, like what like maybe expectations of like what you had going into the book, like versus, you know, like maybe you wanted more character development, maybe you're used to that, maybe that's what you look for like when you read a book versus, you know, like plot. I mean, personally, like I look for both, you know, like a little bit of both. And for me, it had just enough character development to keep me satisfied.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely more like a character person. That's why I often like books by East Asian authors, because I feel like they're very like about the themes, about the characters, not so much what's happening. So that's why I'm usually eat it up. So maybe, like you said, it's just like different expectations.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry.
No worries. Judith said, I did hate that Books and Lila spoiled it for me that she was going to be a soldier in her vlogs. I already knew she was choosing to be a soldier because of that.
Oh no.
Normally she doesn't spell things, but it happens.
Maybe she didn't see it as a spoiler. I think that might be the case here.
I don't even know it was in the synopsis. I didn't read it. I was like, it's about Moon Goddess. It's fine. So I know the author has the pen. I may read something in the future if I'm interested in the synopsis.
I mean, it does say in the synopsis, basically, it says like in disguise, she trains along the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic, despite the passion which flames between them. So
I think she means more like that she chooses to be a soldier. You know, when he like gets engaged, and she has like the choice.
Yeah, fair.
I think that's what she means. When a love interest is a good choice, you know that's not who my main character is gonna end up with.
Yeah, I feel like when a love interest is like an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's usually like, we're all into the same things.
I always like the ones that they don't end up with, so.
That's the worst. I get so angry. Oh my god. I was reading, was it Legend Born? And I love the first book, but the second book I really didn't like because the guy that had more like page time was the one I truly despise with my whole being. And I was like, I don't want to read about this. I don't care what's happening. Just get him off. Get him off the page. I hate him so much. And then I don't know. I was like, the ick. I got it, man.
Yeah, I feel like there's two ways it might go because I'm not sure which one is the one you like and which one's the one you dislike, and I haven't read the sequel, so I'm afraid to ask.
No, I shouldn't spoil you, man.
I mean, I might ask you later because I don't mind spoilers, and now I want to
know. I'll tell. Well, yeah.
Yeah, we won't do it on here, but
yeah. Well, you read book 1, right?
I read book 1, yes.
I think you can guess which one has more page time from that, but I'll tell you.
I don't know, it's been a while, and it was my thesis book, and I kind of blacked it out, so.
Fair enough.
I still liked it. I still gave it 5 stars, but it was just that period of my life wasn't particularly the best.
It's more like a haze. Yeah. Okay, I normally dislike love triangles, but really like this one because either of them seems like a good choice. Yep, Wenju, was it Wenju or something? Still does. I refuse to believe he's bad. I think
Same.
he is bad, but whether it's like one of those. I don't think this book will have a corruption arc, so I don't think he has a chance.
Yeah,
But
I don't think he's like actually bad. I think he's kind of justified because they just suddenly decided, like, well, the magic you have is just outlawed.
true.
So I do kind of feel like he has a point, like simply because we have that magic does not make us evil. But at the
Yeah,
same time, there are other things that could make him evil. But just for that, I don't think he's like the bad choice per se.
yeah.
But yeah.
I'm an Empress apologist. Fair enough. The only villain that was fleshed out, I forgot his name. Listen, names are
Yeah.
hard, okay?
Yeah, it's the Wenji guy
Yeah,
thing.
names are difficult. I don't
Yeah.
remember my character's name.
I don't remember any names. I'm just like the prince and the main character and the moon goddess and the
Yeah, it was like
Xingyin, I think. I mean, I know, but I don't know how to pronounce it. I have the book, but it's like XYNGYIN. Xingyin something.
It was sure something because I listened to the audiobook. It was like something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't tell you. I think they were seen as evil because of the mental magic.
Mhm.
The mental magic was quite interesting because, like, when we're first introduced to it, it's kind of like obviously like shown as a bad thing. Like, no, people wouldn't even talk about it. But then, when Drew or whatever his name is, he said like all these good things that you can do with it as well, which was quite an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, if you have fire magic, I mean, fire magic isn't inherently good or evil. You could definitely set some houses on fire with it, but you could also, rejuvenate the forest by constructively like pruning a patch down for regrowth and, warming up food or something like that or providing warmth. But again, you could also burn someone's house down, so it's like not
Mm.
inherently one way or the other, but
I don't know why, but I was kind of hoping her father would still be alive and there'd be a plot line with the bow. I thought the bow was gonna be her father's for some reason, but then it's not. We don't know really whose bow it is, and we don't know who like. Do we?
it
Do we
could
know?
still be her father's, I
Yeah,
suppose.
we don't know who like bound the dragons, right? No, I don't think we do.
I thought it was I thought it was the celestial emperor who originally bound them.
He bound the dragons, yes.
No, I mean I bound their souls to the perils. That was a different person who was like in charge of them, and then the main character could do that because she like had the bow chose her. Remember?
It was a sorcerer. A
Oh,
sorcerer did it. It was in one of my tabs.
okay. I don't know if we know much about that, but that was very interesting. I was like, I want to know more.
I would almost like to see a prequel like about like the mental magic plus, like maybe like the origins of the dragons or something like that. Like that would be kind of cool. Like either one, even like leading up to like, like Wenzi's childhood and how he ended up, like over in the Celestial Kingdom.
Yeah. Just like talking about the dragons, that bit made me a bit frustrated because I felt like it was just way too easy. Like the dragons just deciding, oh, well, here you have our pearls, and then the pearls getting stolen. And I was like, that was like for me one of the worst parts in the book because I just found it so predictable. And I was like, we have dragons. Why make it like this?
Yeah, we only have dragons for a very short period of time, I felt, because then we like unbound the pearls from the dragons. But I like that now the dragons are kind of roaming free. I think that's cool. Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. The conflict with the Devon realm, I don't get it. Feels like an important point of what led to the war is being kept from us. Probably the emperor did something to cause it. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah. I did like how it was kind of like revisionist history, because like the history is written by the victors, and it's kind of like all these things that happened to the emperor and like all these things the emperor did, like then you actually look into it and it's all lies. So I think that's quite interesting.
Mm.
And also because they were against the emperor, it made it easy for him if the people thought they were demons. Oh, the mind
Yeah.
magic people. Same. I wish you're united with the dad. Yep. R.I.P. dad. I think that would add a lot more emotional baggage to the story because it seemed to be leading there with the bow and such. I think it might be a sequel thing. I definitely think we're gonna focus on the dad because even if he's dead, we want to know what like happened to him, like how he died. Because if it's only been like 20 years, I don't remember how old the main character is, but like whatever. That's like he didn't die of old age. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I agree with this. Also, being daughter of the moon goddess means literally nothing. Could have added more tension around keeping her identity secret if it meant something. So I think, like I've spoken to Hannah about this as well. We were said like she was saying that, like there was no special like power because she was a moon goddess. You know, like the moon didn't affect her, and like it was just seemed like every other immortal. So I feel like their whole title is like daughter of the moon goddess, and I also expected her to have something like to be important. But she's like a daughter of the goddess, but at the same time, everyone here is like some kind of deity, so it also almost doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only function it has is because like the emperor and the empress dislike her mom.
Mm,
That's the only like stuff it adds.
yeah, especially because it was the title of the book. Yep. Imagine that I was like angry that the moon goddess took the potion. Like there was so much we could get, but this is so bittersweet because we will never know which I almost enjoy more.
But when she took the potion, she wasn't the moon goddess, right? Like she became the moon goddess because she took the potion,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Mhm. I do love some points in this book remain unknown, so you as the reader could fit it in for yourself too. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get answers in book 2 probably.
Actually, I do have speculas. It's basically like a Dutch type of cookie. I don't know if you have it, but this is from Sinterklaas.
Nice.
It's left over, but it was like a huge doll, and I was like, I don't eat that much.
That sounds cute. Okay. I wanted more from the world building, like the perception of death from immortals. Could have been interesting to explore, you know, especially when she's a soldier. Yeah, because they can just die like normal people, right? But they don't can't die like of old age, I think, or old age and disease, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you stab them, they're gonna die. At least if you stab them properly. But
Because she like got stabbed and basically healed herself on the spot, like she closed the wound, right? Which I was like, wait, what? I didn't realize they could do that. So I was like, she got stabbed in the heart.
I don't think all of them can. Like the prince has like especially powerful like healer magic.
Mm.
That's true too.
But I do think most of them can like close up superficial wounds.
Mm.
But
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't quite appreciate how invulnerable they were till she became a soldier and she had that first fight when she got all that venom spat at her. And I was like, oh, they can just heal it like that. I was just like didn't realize like that they could do that because like, I don't think it's been introduced. So I was like quite worried for. I was like, oh man, she's gonna be like consequences, but there was no consequences. But I read this was a debut, and that really did impress me.
yeah.
I don't read the synopsis. Even if I do, I have such bad memory, I'll just forget it.
I'll read the synopsis at some point and then I'll add it to my TBR and then forget all about it. And by the time I'll read the book, I won't remember a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. For all the education she got with the prince, her plan to free her mother was so far-fetched. It reminded me that I was reading a book because of course she's gonna get the super special award. No one wins. Yeah, I don't hate that she went for it, but I don't like that she didn't have a plan B. She was like, this is so unlikely, but I'm not gonna have a contingency plan in case it doesn't work out almost. For anyone wanting to know, the author has the pronunciation of the names on the website. I do quite like that she's not that important as a daughter, because sometimes I dislike it when main characters have great powers just because they're children. Offside powerful people. Yeah, that's true. The concept of demons is interesting in this context because Jingyin mentions how she expected them to look a certain way, but that implies the existence of of an underworld to me, or that they believe in afterlife. Yeah, see that I just feel like we could have explored this idea that this is basically heaven way better, because I don't think that people, like humans who die, go to this place. Like, that's not how it works. I don't think you're just born a deity, but then you just have this almost like parallel world that doesn't really affect the normal world. I just feel like it's a little bit like the main the author just wanted to have like a high fantasy world, and kind of like, for some reason, and she wanted to do the Chang'e moon goddess, like mythology retelling, so it kind of became the heavens, but like that barely made any dent in the story, I guess. So I just wish that was a bit more fleshed out. Well, color me surprised, at least no blasphemy committed. I do think it's good she wasn't super overpowered, but I would think the potion had some impact. At least maybe it meant the power was distributed over both of them, or some other consequence. True. I did have a question, and then depending on the answer, we can chat. Because, like, is this adult? Is this meant to be an adult book?
Yes.
Did you feel like it was adult? I guess that was gonna be my question, because I felt like there was nothing about it that really made it stay apart from YA.
Yeah.
And like, on one hand, just because it's a female author, I don't want to be like put it into the YA category. But I didn't feel like it was like, I felt like the decisions I would have been more fine with the decisions the characters made and the superficialness of it if it was YA. But I guess for adult, I can expect more.
Yeah, like it's published by an adult imprint, so it was definitely published as adult, but at the same time it was included in the Fairyloot YA box and not the adult one. So I think that's also telling, because Fairyloot is always very adamant about not including any adult titles in their YA subscription. So I think it's pretty telling that they included this in their YA subscription. So yeah, I think, like, I don't want to say it's not adult, but it certainly has like very, very great crossover appeal for young adult.
Yeah. I felt like it was, I know it was geared towards adults, but like I felt like it would be good for either people that are seeking adult literature because of the fast-pacedness of it and like all the details and stuff. But also good for people who liked YA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I guess if you think about it as a bridge, it kind of works.
Yeah, I feel like also looking at like the age of the characters, because I feel like, especially like towards the end of the book, they're definitely 20, 25-ish, you know, give or take, something like that. So I feel like looking at that, I feel like that might be one of the biggest reasons that it was put in adult, because I feel like, I mean, if I imagine like a 13-year-old reading this, I would maybe be like, might be a bit too like old for them in terms of I don't want to say sexuality, because there wasn't really any like, you know, proper spice in it, but there was definitely like angst and everything, and also like with the war and with people being cut off and the fighting dragons, and pretty graphic depictions, I feel like, of venom being spat on someone. So I feel like if you're looking at that specifically and looking at like, would this be suitable for like a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
It depends on the level of the 13-year-old, obviously. Bye, Sadie.
Bye. Thank you for coming. you make good points. Yeah, I guess it depends because like YA has been so much adultified, I guess. Like
Mhm.
when I think YA, I think like 16-year-old, even though I read it. But yeah, a 25-year-old woman.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like lots of 16-year-olds in books don't behave like 16-year-olds. I
That's
mean,
true.
obviously, I don't live in a high fantasy world, but looking back at like when I was 16, they are definitely much more mature than I was. And again, like not everyone's the same, obviously. You know, this book might be suitable for some 13-year-olds, but some other 13-year-olds might be like way too advanced for them. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's mostly to do with like age and explicitness of, in this case, I'd say like the violence
Yeah.
in this book.
Mm.
That's what makes it adult, I guess. But like I said, I mean, it definitely has like great crossover appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Was there anything else you guys wanted to like talk about?
What are your predictions for the next book? Or
Mm.
expectations, maybe? Or hopes?
I want to learn more. Wait, Kira, have you already read the sequel?
I did last year. I got approved for the arc, which is like why I raced out like to go like for the sequel arc, and I raced out like to go get the first book because I was holding on off reading the first book until I had the second book because I thought it was like going to be like cliffhanger-ish, and it wasn't. I was just like, wow, I could have read this without worrying about reading the second one, but then like I rushed out to read the second one directly after, so I already kind of know what's going to happen.
All right. Well, let me make some predictions then.
Do
I
you still
definitely
remember what you were hoping for after reading the first book, but before reading the second one?
So this is the thing, and like when I first like read the first like one, I felt like it was so summed up like in the first book. Like I didn't really have like like a lot of expectations like for the second book because I thought they had already hit like pretty much like all the major plot points like in the first book because it did feel like a standalone. So for me, it was just like, oh, there's more.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know more about who's the original owner of the bow and the dad. I guess those are the two things.
Yeah. I'm
think-
really expecting to learn more about the dad. Whether he be alive or not, I am expecting like to learn more about him. And I'm also hoping to learn more about like the
Oh no. I lost her. We lost her.
I don't know. Maybe it's just frozen.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Well, you can't tell me, but I'm really wondering whether we're gonna sort out the like the emperor because he's obviously not a good like ruler. So I wonder if it's gonna be more like Twilight when the bad rulers just stay in power, or if it's gonna be like sorted out. Are you back, Femke? No.
Maybe there's just a lag.
Oh, we can check out what people are saying. Maybe the sequel has more adult
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
My Wi-Fi just kicked me off. I don't know why. It just decided like, nope, you're not having Wi-Fi today anymore.
Enough about the books.
Yeah. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as I was saying, I was hoping to see more about like the bow and maybe if there are other like artifacts about those kinds of things. I'm hoping to see more of the dragons.
Very good propositions, both.
Just because the dragons, like,
the dragons are cool. I was saying I'm curious whether they're gonna oust the emperor because obviously it's like kind of like a corrupt rulership, I guess. So I'm like, I wonder if it's like Twilight, where at the end, like the political landscape doesn't change, or if it's like we're gonna overthrow the bad political situation.
yeah, I feel like that's going to happen where the emperor is just going to be like overthrown because Leeway or Leeway, I don't know how to pronounce it, is so much more fair as a potential ruler, I feel like. So yeah. I'm kind of fully expecting that, to get him on the throne.
Yeah, to be fair, I wonder whether we're gonna see any like fallout from the fact that he basically rejected the fiance, or like, because the whole reason they were
Probably.
gonna get married was political. But he's not gonna do it anymore. But you're right, if he becomes the emperor, I guess the main character is gonna be empress or whatever. So maybe that's how it ends. But since there is book 3, maybe the political stuff could be saved for that or something. Maybe the sequel has more adult topics. The first can be for both. That's true too. Yeah.
Mm.
Unsure if I will read book 2, but I want to know how things get resolved. But also, I don't want to be a hater. Much to consider. Well, you can always tell here, and we'll tell you.
And I mean, you can read the book and you can hate the book. I feel like as long as you don't actively offend someone or try to insult someone, it's fine. I mean, you can say that you hate the book, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends if you want to, invest your time reading a book that you will probably not like.
Well, good thing it's a fast read. Love it or hate it, you fly through it. Really excited to read the sequel. Okay, I'm excited too. I'm curious. Like, it was such an easy read. I just really liked reading it. The over-explaining of certain scenes drove me up the wall when she was explaining how she was deceiving the captain to try to free herself. I wanted out of her brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's true. Maybe that's what also made it feel a little YA when, you're like being explained everything rather than learn it from context clues or like be like, get it.
Or as opposed to Ruin by John Wynne, where you're basically learning what the point was after the fact has happened. I was like, oh, so this was the grand conspiracy.
That's true too. The dad has a special bow, so I think it is his bow. But the dad's bow was like a bow of ice, I think. So I think maybe it was a different bow.
Maybe there are more special bows, and maybe we find them all.
Yeah, like a little collection of special bows. That
Yeah,
sounds fun.
just like Pokemon, you gotta catch them all.
I like that. I think it's going to focus on the real plot, which is the civil war to oust the emperor in favor of the prince. To be fair, this did feel a little bit like setup. Like, on one hand, it felt like a standalone. On the other hand, it felt like setup for all the political stuff. Because to be fair, we got barely any resolution for the political stuff, so that makes sense. I think that Wenju will end up as king of the demon realm. Yeah.
I'm honestly so opposed to calling it the demon realm because I don't think they're demons.
I want him to explain this world to me. I want the author to sit me down and be like, these are the difference between the demons, and these people are not angels. They're not even gods, all of them. Like, they're servants. Can you imagine being born immortal and then just like that's your whole job? That's a bit harsh. That's why I was like, because it's not real people's ghosts. So I don't know. But yeah, I just want the world explained to me a little bit. Like, I'm 5.
Yeah, it's like they're all branded demons, but these are just people born with the wrong magic. It's like, or well, the magic the emperor has deemed wrong, I suppose I should say.
True.
Because it's all a matter of perspective.
Because I think all of them are like human, right? Like human looking, I mean.
Yep.
There's no like scales or anything. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, his brother is dead, so he's the king now, I guess. Was his brother the king, or was his brother chosen to be the next king?
I think it was Crown Prince.
Right.
Yeah. So Wenzi was, I don't think I'm pronouncing his name right, but he said that the reason like he was so bent on trying to get the pearls was because he was trying to make sure that he was able to surpass his brother as king. It was his throne ambition, and now that he brought them home, he was guaranteed the throne. But after his brother died, he's guaranteed the throne anyway.
True. So yeah, I think he's like next in line. Like,
yeah. Unless his dad is spiteful and just kills him for killing his other son, or something like that. I mean, you never know with these people.
To be fair, if you're immortal, what do you need heirs for? Do you know what I mean? Could just
Because at some point you're probably going to die, or you're going to get tired of ruling and you need someone else to pick it up.
I guess, but like an emperor doesn't strike. That was another thing. I was like, the emperor and empress. It sounds like they've been emperor and empress for millennia, right? Is this their first kid? If yes, why now? If not, what happened to the other ones? Is there ever a real plan for him to take over? Because the emperor doesn't strike me as someone who'd be like, let me retire now. So I'm just like interested. Like
Maybe it's like with Sarah J. Maas and her fae, with children being difficult to conceive.
That could be true.
I don't know. I don't think it was properly answered or anything, but
yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know if they explain. Well, at least good news is if I ever read this, my brain decides to store none of the info in this live.
That's funny.
We're not really talking detail. Like, we're very vague, to be fair. Politics kills them. True.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I have so many questions now. I'm thinking about it because it's like, is this the creator? Are we meant to think he's the creator? Was there a king before him? Like, what is happening? Like, to me, I kind of wish, if you're not gonna put it out at all, I wish they just made it like a human kingdom kind of thing, because I don't understand this.
I feel like they were just made immortal so they could have fancy powers.
Yeah, and I think because they wanted Chang'e, because that's like a very famous mythology about the moon goddess. I think they just wanted to use the moon goddess.
Yeah.
But there's like so little padding out of this system. Maybe it'll be answered in book 2, but I feel like it's a bit late now.
We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Because like, if you're like the creator and you've been ruling for millennia, like, yeah, it gets to your head. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a different character dynamic. But yeah. Right. Anyone else in the comments, or you guys, any topics? What are you? Oh, you'd already told us your prediction, Femke. I was gonna ask, but yeah. Are you excited for book 2? I guess the question is.
I'm excited enough. It's like I'm not, immediately dying to get to reading it, but I'm excited enough. Like I'm not going to put it off, at least not consciously. I mean, we all know me, so who knows what's going to happen. But I'm excited enough. I liked the first book. I didn't love it. It didn't blow me out of the water or anything, but it was fine. There's no active hate going on. Even if I did hate it, I would probably read the second book out of spite. But I don't hate it. It's fine.
To be fair, same, yeah. Maybe my 2.5 was harsh. Like, I feel very neutral about it, which to me is a 3. I'm like, no feelings either.
Yeah, I'm like slightly more positive than neutral, so like 3.5.
Fair enough. Do we have a date for the next live show?
I don't think so.
No, you shall know when we know.
I mean, I would expect, based on what we've been doing, sprint on the 19th and a live show on the 5th of March.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So you guys can get ready. I'll maybe be in a new house by then because I'm moving, but we've not found anywhere, so we'll see. Maybe I'll be without Wi-Fi. We'll see. But yeah, I guess that's everything. We're ready to say bye to everyone.
Yeah, I don't think I have any more comments. My brain is empty.
Hannah says, "Oh, honestly, this is so fun. I'll try the first 100 pages of book 2, and if I don't enjoy it, I'll stop." That seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that book is just as big as the first one.
Yeah, it at least it appears to be.
Shall we take a look? Oh, the art is so gorgeous in the fairy.
Yes.
Look at it.
So pretty.
Yeah, I ordered that one too because I love the first one so much.
Literally, mine just came in yesterday, so.
Nice.
This one is $4.65, so it's about 40 pages less than the first one.
Yeah. There's audiobook on script, so you guys can also use that. The fun part is discussing with you all. That's true. Looking forward to the sprints. It was fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really like talking to you guys too. Thank you so much for coming. Keep an eye on Twitter, but I think 19th and the 5th sound about right.
Yes.
So I'm excited to be talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thanks for
joining
joining
us.
us.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.